Hello, adventurers, and welcome to another Random Adventurers podcast. I'm your host, Nate, and I'm here in the studio with Ranger Liz.
Hello.
And Lich Lord Bryan. Yeah.
Well, if you consider a real-world example, you got, like, army ants.
Yeah, but army ants aren't really a threat to people.
They aren't really a threat to people, but if you look at them as a threat to other stuff, just imagine them maybe a little bit bigger.
I think you're looking for the skig.
Yes, I couldn't remember what they're called.
Maybe a little more organized.
Rats that eat gunpowder.
Yes, rats that eat gunpowder and explode.
Yes, their digestive process turns the inert gunpowder into nitroglycerin.
Well, anyway, that's what we're going to be talking about.
Yes.
So yeah,
Fauna.
in IK, don't kick the rats. We have a rat infestation. Oh, burn the house down.
Are you sure you want to burn the house down?
Yes, considering their bellies are full of nitro.
They're in the basement, right? It can't be that big of a problem.
But yes.
One mushroom cloud and devastated city later.
Only a few city blocks.
But yes. So, as we've kind of alluded to with the skig, if there are unique things in your world, like the gunpowder of Iron Kingdom, which is kind of a pivotal thing, having a creature that plays into this unique element of your world actually adds a little bit of flavor to it.
Animals learn to adapt to whatever situations that they're put in. Certain animals learn to adapt.
Yes.
And so, yeah, certain things like that, they'll learn to adapt along with.
Take a look at the carpenter ant, the raccoon,
Pigeons.
and the cockroach, and the pigeon.
And the falcons that eat the pigeons that live in the cities. So, yeah, animals adapt.
And that one squirrel in Albuquerque.
Well, there's a couple squirrels actually out here that I was actually impressed by their street smarts.
I've heard talks that like rats and mice are adapting to the kind of traps we've set out for.
Oh, and poisons.
Where mice actually won't even eat, will avoid the poison because they'll just take a little test to make sure it won't kill them.
Yeah, rats will do that, and that's why there's now a species of super rats, because they just take a small nibble of the poison. Which also
I'm sure
builds up an immunity.
Which also I'm sure wouldn't be enough of a nibble to actually set off the mechanical trap you set for them. That would normally, break their necks.
But another thing that happens though with these super rats is if a rat does get killed by poison, like this poison's strong enough, rats smell each other's mouths to know what the other rats last ate. And they're like, oh, I'll remember that smell. So if you want to get them, you have to use a super strong poison that in the smallest amount will kill them that doesn't have a scent that they could pick up. So, animals adapt.
Animals adapt.
If you really want to be efficient, just, you could fumigate. But the other thing is the rat will never adapt to a good iron cast pot.
No, they won't adapt to that.
Good skillet, they'll never adapt to that.
So, yes. Do remember that also animals like the dog were adapted by outside influence.
Yes. So, back to those lizards that we never trust. Sometimes they decide only to... Wizards.
I heard lizards.
Wizards. With a W, not an L. Sometimes they don't just play around to see what they can mix with humans because they're bored. Sometimes they also mix around and see what genetically altered creatures they can create.
Like the owl bear.
Or the chul. The tool, actually, in its description in the D&D 3.5 Monster Manual, says that this aberration was created by a wizard attempting to create an aquatic guardian for its domain.
Nice. Weren't the Slotty similar to that, or...?
No, they're just outsiders who were summoned in.
Okay. I think there's a few other ones in there, too.
Yeah.
This hasn't been stressed enough. Never trust a wizard. Anyway, so... you have those.
Stab every chest you come across.
Also consider what other races, because we did talk about that, like elves. Elves aren't going to breed the same dogs as humans. Elves are going to breed dogs that follow what elven ideals would be.
Aren't blink dogs from D&D elven dogs?
No.
I thought they were supposed to...
They get along with elves, but they weren't,
not, okay.
they weren't, bred by the elves.
So
there
they
is a
probably
race of
could
elven
end up-
dog that actually has an innate ability to climb trees.
And always fear the society that breeds its own rust monsters.
Yes. Yes.
So you have those, and then, of course, you're always going to have those creatures that can't be tamed and are going to be running loose and are generally going to be
But people are always
pretty
going
big
to
if they're outside
try.
the city. Oh, yeah, they're always going to try.
I mean, there's some great, tamed beasts in the IK, like the Argus. That's tamed by Cadorians.
Yep.
People have semi-tamed Goraxes, I think, at times.
Well, they've at least been able to keep them in chains and set them loose and then go collect them later once they're tired.
But when you're considering these creatures, though, I will say that remember the environment that you're working with. You want to make sure that these megafauna, or even fauna in general, match with the environments that you're putting them in.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might want to consider the back to your elementary school science class with the food chain.
That too. That could always be very interesting.
Yes, because, the big question is as you see on our table, we have this dragon here. Now, obviously, this is an aquatic variety of dragon.
Okay.
It's got a little anglerfish thing going on here. And it is covered in spines. Little hint for those of you who ever study, ecology in depth. Like watch Discovery Channel a few times. Things that are covered in spines like this have predators bigger than them.
Well, it's not only just that. I mean, that could be just defensive against its own kind. What you might want to actually consider, though, is a lot of sea life that have spines in this shape. I'm not talking about like a puffer fish type spines, but like this, these are usually poisonous.
Yep.
Take like the lionfish, for example. And then another thing you want to consider is the fact that it does have that little angler thing. That means it's probably either going to be active at night, if it lives in shallow water, or it's going to be a deep sea. Because fish are going to be more attracted to light if they aren't normally...
Around it.
Yeah.
Slight side note. I actually was recently in a group of gamers who not one of them knew what fugu was. Talking 4 other people, no one knows what fugu is. Wow.
Another thing you want to consider is this thing does have wings. These are probably residual, and they're not going to be using them to fly.
Oh.
They'll be using them probably considering the size and the
Kind of like
heaviness of them.
Kind of like a submarines things.
Especially since its front legs, you can't really see, but its front legs are smaller and not as fin-like. So it's probably using these to help hunt.
Yeah, it's using those for grasping, these and these for propulsion.
So if you are designing your own creature, bear in mind how it might fight, how it might, especially if it's a predator, how it might hunt. Not everything that is big and mean looking is going to be actually a predator. Anyone out there who, part of the reason why we chose to talk about this is because we have been playing Monster Hunter, and anyone who has played it will know that some of the biggest, scariest things that you see actually eat plants.
I remember the first time I saw the Baroth, I was like, holy cow, that thing's huge!
And it eats bugs.
And I'm like, that thing must eat like something pretty dang big. Why are these herbivores getting so close to that watering hole? They know it's in there.
It eats bugs. And then,
it must eat a lot of bugs.
Well, you should see the size of some of the bugs.
Okay. The size of some of the bugs. And then,
so we're dealing in an oxygen-rich, high-pressure environment.
Yeah.
Probably, yes.
Yes.
There was a type of wyvern that eats plant material out in the desert. So, yeah, if there's a chance that they're going to have big predators, think of the dinosaurs. Some of the biggest dinosaurs were actually herbivores. So, consider that. What?
Most of the biggest.
Yeah, most of the biggest were actually herbivores because they adapted by outgrowing their predators. So that's something to bear in mind, that, yeah, it's really easy just to throw a whole bunch of predators out there at them, but moose, hippos,
rhinos,
water buffalo.
I would also say keep in mind that in any area, you can't have too many predators to, prey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Predators usually have a lot of prey that they can do because they are not going to, overdo it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not to mention they're not always going to catch the first thing they try and hunt.
And a lot of predators have overall, especially if your world is adapted to humans more, or whatever humanoid species, they have learned over time. They're somewhere along the line, they probably have faced whatever your humanoid species are, and they've learned that messing with them usually turns out to be a disaster. Especially the ones that live in social groups. Maybe they've hunted a human before, and that turned into a massacre for some of their pack, and they had to rebuild.
That's the fault of the human. They left survivors.
Yeah, they left survivors.
Remember, kill whole families, leave no orphans.
So that's why.
Advice from our Lich Lord.
That's why you tend to either have animals that are very vengeful towards probably humanoids. You might have some of those, or you're going to have some that are going to be, I don't want anything to do with them.
Well, speaking of vengeful animals, I mean, the policy of only killing the adults and leaving the children behind is part of the reason some areas are dealing with elephant problems.
Yes.
You have elephants, which are a social animal who don't have the guidance from older members, and so they're attacking the people that killed their dad.
Mhm.
All for his tusks.
There's that. I don't know if anyone out there has ever heard of the outlaw wolves. Did you know about them because of me? Did you?
No.
Okay, when they were exterminating wolves in Yellowstone Park, a few of them started becoming known for killing cattle pretty quickly afterwards, including one named the Custer Wolf, who didn't even eat any of the cattle he killed.
Good job.
His entire pack was killed. I'm not exactly sure where he was at the time.
His entire pack wasn't killed.
His entire pack!
Except for him.
Except for him, yes. Even his pups were in the den. They killed them, so he had a tendency to kill female cows that were pregnant and rip their fetuses out of their body and leave them laying there beside the mother. Yes.
Did he go the extra mile and put the fetuses on pikes?
He didn't have hands to do that, but this was an actual thing. The Custer Wolf ran around for quite some time before he was finally caught and killed by.
Did he attack the Indians?
No.
Was he defeated at Little Bighorn?
I know.
That would be the ultimate irony.
That would be, but no. There was a trapper that actually ended up building a bit of a relationship with him, and had he not fallen into that trap, he would have actually left.
Oh, look, the little cluster wolf.
He noticed how very smart this wolf was, and he also hung around. This wolf also hung around with some coyotes. But that is a side note. The note is that these are some things you might want to consider if you have people who are going, yeah, I'm really tired of all these wyverns flying around. We're going to exterminate them all. Maybe some of these wyverns will decide, you know what, I'm going to exterminate whatever it was that you thought I was trouble for.
There actually is a scenario in one of the no quarters for an Iron Kingdom setting where this town is having problems with a lot of the beasts in the area. And it gives you a bunch of possible reasons why it could happen. One, you kill like the alpha predator, and now everyone's trying to scramble to become the new alpha predator, and they're attacking the town. But the other one is maybe there's some other force that's driving the beasts to attack the town.
So yeah. Now, on to our second topic, Megafauna. In particular, we've talked about designing your Megafauna, but Liz, what's your favorite variety of Megafauna? I think I might have an idea.
Do you really have to ask?
Dragons?
Dragons. Yes. Dragons are my favorite Megafauna. I do have a few others that I enjoy, but overall it is dragons that are my favorite. And with them, when you decide to add dragons in your world, you have to figure out what their intelligence is and so forth. Because at times I am almost ready to set them aside off of the just basic animal type and just go, no, they're too intelligent really to be really sitting there. They do have a feral aspect about them, but that could be more of a cultural thing if you stop and think about it.
Yeah. You take a look at a lot of stuff involving dragons, and like you read about, a lot of dragons could read. They were very learned. They were powerful. They supposedly, these wizards and sorcerers learned how to do magic from dragons. So
that's something you want to consider as to how intelligent and so forth you want to have them be, because you might need to back off maybe some of the feralness of them, or if you're going to have them be really these big super predators, then maybe up their feral aspect and maybe down their intelligence a little.
One of the things I liked about the IK dragons is you get a little bit of a Highlander aspect with them, which can be interesting. But the other interesting aspect of them is because IK dragons are pretty much nigh immortal, they're incredibly powerful, but because they're nigh immortal and the only thing that can pretty much kill them is another dragon, they've actually become incredibly timid, to the point where a dragon enters a battle and goes, I have a 1 in 10 billion chance of dying today. Well, better fight tomorrow. I have a statistically significant chance of dying. I don't like those odds. Because when you're immortal, you can just go, well, this plan isn't working. I'm not going to risk myself. So I'll just form a new plan.
So yeah, there's some things you want to put in, just because of how dragons are, you want to put some thought into. You also want to consider what you consider a dragon. I am very much a strict believer that dragons are supposed to have, except sea dragons, I will put an exception on them just because they're adapted to live in the water. But otherwise, dragons should have 4 legs and 2 wings. I was highly disappointed with Small in the Hobbit movies.
I don't really have a favorite in terms of Megafauna. A lot of them seem really interesting. The problem with like the really Megafauna is you don't really have too many chances to encounter them. So Depends on what you classify as megafauna.
Usually anything that is 6 feet or more at the shoulder.
I mean, elephants would also.
So at that
be
point, you're
pretty
talking. At that point, elephants or larger, rhinos and things like that would qualify as megafauna.
Yeah.
Which I mean, but how?
Basically anything that, in D&D terms, is an animal that is of the
Huge size or big?
huge size or bigger.
Okay. I don't know. You don't really encounter that. I don't really have a. We don't have a tendency to encounter that many of these. The more beast aspects. It's usually the humanoids or these semi-humanoids that we've had a tendency to encounter.
Mhm.
So.
Though I would say it would be fun to have a Gorgonopsid show up.
I would love in
Yeah.
an arcade game to throw a Drake. Oh God, what the heck is that thing? It's in the monster.
Crocodile.
Crocodile, yeah, the crocodile.
Yeah.
50-foot gator.
As for me, my favorite megafauna, I would have to say, is the behemoth of Exalted. Now, sadly, that is highly cheating, because behemoth covers a whole slew of things. I mean, they can be humanoid, they can be animal, they can be, like I said, it's cheating.
Well, yeah, and plus when D&D has the behemoths, which are actually pretty much dinosaurs at that point.
Yeah. But, they're quasi-magical, they're either created by powerful fair folk lords or by the devil lord Yozis of hell. So they're meant to be basically their battering rams.
I like the mammoths in Skyrim. Those are kind of...
Yeah, the mammoths in Skyrim were kind of cool.
Mostly because you always were around giants as well, though, so...
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, because I think,
But yeah, no, what I like about behemoths is why they're cheating. It's because they cover, you can find a behemoth that fit just about anything you want. Like, if you're looking for an intelligent opponent, there's the Bog Mother. If you're looking for something that is just, a big sledgehammer against your enemy, against the players, you guys faced him, Arad the Hunter.
I don't remember.
yeah, I'm sorry. I don't
You
remember.
weren't
You
there.
I don't remember. Which one was that?
Big walking guy who just...
Was that outside the town?
That was outside of the walled city, yeah.
That was the guy I jumped out his arm and sliced him across the neck.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that guy now.
So yeah, I think overall, if you design your own, consider the environment that you are putting them in and how they are going to adapt to it.
Yep. Usually Megafauna are going to be somewhere near the apex of where they fall in.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I mean, you can include them there, but a lot of encounters against beasts or things, I just don't find interesting. I'll admit, because the beasts don't usually have any plan. It's just you're basically on a safari at that point.
Yep.
So.
They're more of a random encounter kind of
They're
thing.
Yeah.
either a random encounter or possibly under the, tamed and just
Yep.
taking orders from somebody else.
But it is...
All War Beasts coming up for the Iron Kingdom setting RPG.
But it is still kind of important to include them because you're still going to be there, and your party is going to possibly run into some of them.
Yeah.
So try to make sure that they're interesting and they're not just, oh, it's a random encounter.
Also,
we just killed it, yay.
Also, for things that have that system, beware of any megafauna you introduce that your wizard or druid friends could, turn themselves into.
Yeah, you want to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Don't release anything too powerful as the wizard can polymorph or the druid can wild shape into, because you'll regret that immediately. Oh, I've seen it. I
True
can
that.
wild shape into it now.
So, with that covered, as Ranger Liz said, we have been playing Monster Hunter.
Yes.
And so, as a special bonus promotion for this podcast episode, we're going to have a PDF release with unofficial stats for the new in Monster Hunter 4 weapons, the Insect Glaive and the Charge Blade. You're going to find Pathfinder D&D 3.5 stats as well as Exalted stats for these weapons.
I haven't been able to play it. I would like to have played it, but I haven't been able to yet.
You'll be able to soon.
You'll be able to soon.
Depends on it. I didn't order any games when I ordered my DS, so.
You can always buy it off the eShop channel.
Yeah. That's why I didn't order any games, plus I didn't want to pay $10 shipping per item.
Bleh.
I put in for rush delivery, man.
Oh, okay, good point.
An extra $11 for to have it here by the Friday instead of by yesterday instead of waiting for another week for it.
I kind of figured that they would have put it all in one box.
No, $10 per item.
And if you like this video, please hit the like, leave us a comment. You know, we like having our weekly questions, but if you guys don't ask us anything, we don't have a question.
And don't be afraid to subscribe if you maybe watch a couple of videos and you're like, hey, I like these people, subscribe to us.
Yep.
Because we'll release more.
Yep. And when we do our live events, our subscribers know about them in advance.
Yep.
So we need to decide on pandemic for the next,
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So do we have a question of the week?
We do not. Nobody asked one.
We will come up with one. What? Favorite superpower?
Ooh, favorite superpower.
Oh. We're talking like... Give me some... Yeah, that's a broad category. Give me something... Give me some restriction on that. We're talking like Marvel type superpowers.
Yeah.
I can tell you my favorite superhero. Still Spider-Man.
Okay.
Despite his two crappy movies.
Yeah,
his three consecutive crappy films.
Spider-Man's my favorite, so we'll go with that. Favorite superhero.
Spider-Man, despite the 3 crappy movies in a row he's got.
Speaking of which, Disney reacquired the rights to Spider-Man.
Thank you, Sony.
Oh,
you don't know what you're doing. Thank you, Sony. You haven't known what you were doing since 2004.
Hopefully, Spider-Man. It's gonna be sad if they have to reboot him yet again. But
I never had a problem necessarily with Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. Okay, I thought as Spider-Man he did a decent job. I'm not a big fan of him as Peter Parker. I think he's way too of that cool hipster look to play Peter Parker. I get it might be a little bit more modern take on Parker, but I thought Tobey Maguire was so much better. I just never bought Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker. Liked him as Spider-Man. The problem is, and I liked Gwen Stacy as the actor Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy, but you know they ruined that one. Good job, Sony.
So
spoilers.
Yeah, our favorite Spider-Man, even though he's had crappy movies, and I would love for him to finally have a good one. So thank you, Disney.
Tony Stark, Iron Man.
Having unlimited wealth is not a superpower.
He's still technically a superhero, though.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Unlimited wealth isn't Tony Stark's superpower.
Yes, he's super intelligent. Batman's superpower is unlimited wealth.
Yes.
But with, I think someone calculated the cost of the Batwing in the 89 movie. It was like $2 billion. Which, going back to 89, is like half of Wayne's wealth.
I would love to find whoever did this picture, but there is a picture of Tony Stark and Batman kind of having a fight by throwing money at each other. And then in the next frame, you see Spider-Man there picking up the money.
That's the one thing I mean, granted, Spider-Man, he actually did try this, and he wasn't successful at it.
Uh-huh.
I truly don't understand why some of those superheroes, why didn't Spider-Man, try the professional athlete route just another time? It failed. It didn't work out the first time, but he was dealing with shady people.
Yes.
If he could have gotten some kind of legitimate promoter, he could have been all he has to do is 2 fights a year, and he could have been a professional boxer making in millions.
He could have.
Actually, he did, according to the comics, appear on variety shows and TV doing promotional stunts for about 6 to 8 months.
But Peter Parker could have finally had his name for something had he become a boxer.
True. Instead of a masked wrestler.
Well, the other thing with Spider-Man that's also funny is, with the variant of Peter Parker that actually made his web slingers, who actually did that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Peter Parker could have been, rolling in wealth if he just sold the web. Here, police officers, here's a way to detain violent criminals that's really easy. Just shoot them with these.
Yes.
I'll even make a version that doesn't force me to have to do this maneuver. So I still love the character. I mean, it's just there's some aspects that are funny.
Yeah. So yeah, I am going to be looking forward to the upcoming round of Marvel movies because after Avengers, Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron's coming out. What else Marvel's coming out this year?
Is there a new Captain America movie?
Again? Wasn't his last movie last year?
No.
2 years ago? It was 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. I watched Winter Soldier last year. I didn't watch it in theaters.
Yeah, and then they're progressing, because now that they have the rights to Spider-Man, they're going to go ahead with the Civil War storyline.
Yeah, cool.
And then,
which one is that?
That's where the,
aren't they, sorry.
There's actually going to be a big thing falling out between Captain America and Iron Man.
Aww.
Over should all superheroes in the Marvel universe register and join the Avengers?
Isn't Ant-Man also supposed to be?
Oh yeah, Ant-Man's coming out this year.
Ant-Man's coming out this year.
I know some people who refuse to. I know there's some people who, not because of anything they think they've seen anything bad with Ant-Man, but I know there's people who refuse to watch that movie.
Then there's Doctor Strange. They were starting to work on him, and then
I know this is different, but I love what Marvel. I love the movies Marvel is making because they don't have access to their A-list. Sorry, we don't have the X-Men, we don't have the Fantastic Four, and we don't have Spider-Man. But we have all these other people that you might find compelling, and clearly, based on the success of Guardians of the Galaxy, we do.
That's right.
Here, we don't have the A-Team, but we got B, C, and D. Enjoy.
Let's see. There's someone else.
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, and there's somebody. I
And
heard
they're
something
doing-
about the
and they're-
Panther. Panther. Who
Black
is it?
Panther.
Black Panther. Okay.
Yeah, there was a well-named superhero. He's a guy from Africa. He's an African prince, actually, who dresses in a black costume that is shaped like, that has a panther motif.
Whatever.
And it came out in the 80s. I have a feeling this was Marvel's attempt to say, hey, look, we're not anti-black. The comic book industry isn't anti-black.
Oh, yeah, you said Marvel. I was going to bring up a DC character. DC should have just, stuck with the, the African American Green Lantern if they want to do that too.
Who is Static Shock?
That was DC.
Okay.
But Static came along many, many years later.
I know.
Does Marvel
but-
have Blade yet?
I don't think Disney Marvel has reacquired the rights to Blade yet.
Oh. I like those movies.
Or no, I think they may have. Because
I liked those movies. Those are fun.
no, never mind. That because I was about to say Disney was producing the latest round of SpiderMan animation.
Whatever.
But then again, they were also able to get the X-Men to appear in there. So
Okay,
That
so
might not
superheroes.
mean
So
anything.
superheroes is a great topic for us because I think we've gone over our limit.
I think we did, but that's alright because, you know, it's interesting. And we do actually have some pictures that I got, Nathan, that I don't know if Kenshin really fits in with our theme here.
we might take Kenshin down for a while.
And then you can add those pictures I bought
Then
you.
I will put those up down here.
Okay.
Either that or you put them up in your room. I just want them up somewhere.
Yeah, I want to get them up too. But yes. So, just remember,
Oh, don't kill us, we're PCs!